name is Lanisha Yelton, and today I'll be showing you how I perform a blood smear and diff quick preparation for the vet to then examine it under the microscope. So I have this 1.5 mils of previously collected blood from the jugular vein of a 14-year-old canine. What I want to do is I want to put the adequate sample into the EDTA tube that's previously labelled with the pet's name and patient ID number, leaving just enough for me to do that blood smear because you don't need too much. Alrighty, I'm just going to close that one. Alright, so what I want to make sure is I've obviously got everything all ready for me. I've got 2 microscope slides as well as my fixative, my stain 1 and stain 2. I've also previously labelled the microscope slide. Now before I want to put any of the sample actually onto the slide, I want to make sure that I'm doing it with the frost side down, which is the other side. And same for the other one, just in case. Alrighty, so you don't need too much. You just want to put a real tiny amount onto the microscope slide here. I like to just give it a tap. You don't need too much, like I said. So just using the other microscope slide to press firmly down, just going at a 90-degree angle, coming backwards and then following through. Now that wasn't too bad of a slide. I have got those feather angles there, but if I wanted to, you can always do another slide for examination because the vet can never have too much, just in case obviously one gets contaminated or anything. So I'm just going to do another one here because I wasn't too happy with that one. So again, you don't need too much at all. That's probably enough there. Alrighty. So again, like I said, just coming back and going through. So I'm actually a bit happier with this one here. So obviously you want to give yourself a bit of a choice which sample you want to go with. I'm quite happy with these feathered edges here, and it's quite a larger sample. Now obviously you want to make sure that before you start dipping it in your diff quick and your fixative that it is a dry sample, and ensuring you're not heating it up, obviously because you can damage those cells, and then that would defeat the purpose of obviously this examination. So now that this one is dry, you just want to invert it into the fixative to begin with. Recommendation, depending on obviously the manufacturer's 6 to 10 times. So I'm just going to do it about 8 times. I like to lean it on a bit of an angle, so obviously I'm not tapping the bottom of the glass there and getting any of my sample actually off the microscope. So it doesn't need to be a fast process. You can just invert it like this. Alrighty, I like to just lean it on the side and let that excess fixative just drop off there. And then moving on to stain 1. Again, just inverting into the container here. And just letting that excess come off. And now this is your last stain. Alrighty, so again, like I said, just going into the angle, back and forth. Alrighty, so there's a couple of options after this one. You can obviously pop it into a container of water to get this excess stain off. What I like to do is run under tap, obviously not on the sample side down. So what I'm actually going to do is turn it over if you want to follow me over here. So what I like to do is obviously the sample's on this side, so I'm going to turn it over to the other side there. Obviously make sure the tap's going before you stick your sample under it, so obviously you don't want to wash away any of your samples. So I like to just sit it under there. Obviously that's not washing off my sample, it's just washing off that excess stain. And then what I like to do is just grab a couple bits of tissue. Obviously, like I said, not wiping the side that has that sample, but just that back side there. Alrighty, so as you can see there's my stain slide. You can see that obviously it's become quite visual there, and then I'm going to pop that one aside for the vet to then examine. Obviously popping my lids back on all my fixative and stains here. Obviously you don't want too much of a mess, and then I can start cleaning up, obviously because we do have some blood samples here you want to dispose of correctly, including any slides that you use. These are considered sharp materials, so making sure you're popping it into the sharps container. And another note as well is with the blood that I've got in the EDTA tube, it may not need to be looked at later, so you can pop that in the fridge 4 to 6 hours, but no longer obviously. So I'm going to do that. Alrighty, and then taking off my gloves and disposing of, and then just washing your hands as well. Alrighty, and that's how I do a blood smear and diff quit.